Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Vigo and I am a flight attendant for a major US airline. Just to remind everybody that all of the opinions in my video are my opinions alone. I do not represent any airline or any company whatsoever. Today I'm going to be talking about my venture to becoming a flight attendant. So let's get started. I was working at the hospital and I came across some amazing people that have become my friends for life. I met my best friends, Emily, Jessica, and Olivia, and I know that they're going to be friends for life. And it was an amazing experience. When I was working at that hospital, I was also running a council for the hospital that they asked me to chair, and that was a huge responsibility. It was just being put together, and we didn't know exactly what it was going to look like or what the value was that it was going to add to the hospital yet. And I grew it. I took it and I ran with it, and I really enjoyed working at the hospital. I enjoyed helping people and being part of that process. But there was something missing. That wasn't like my end all. Then I went on a trip with my family to the Philippines. Traveling from the States to the Philippines is a venture in its own. I flew from Austin, Texas to South Korea, which was a 15-hour flight. And then from Korea down to where my family lives in Cebu. And the whole time, I'm seeing these flight attendants doing what I perceived was their job. And I feel like a lot of people think that flight attendants are just, glorified sky waitresses. And come to find out that it's definitely not true whatsoever. So I started doing a bunch of research. I started, watching a bunch of videos on YouTube about, who are flight attendants? What do their lives look like? What is, how do they keep relationships? How do they go through their day-to-day life? What does their schedule look like? Are they always gone? And things like that. And I came to the conclusion that this is what I wanted to do. I started applying for every airline that I could think of, just going to every company website and trying to figure out, if they were hiring or, where they were hiring. And it was daunting. It was a daunting task. There's this wonderful resource that's out there, flightattendantcareer.com, that will actually show you a list of all the airlines that are hiring. And I wish that I would have found out about that sooner. But that's a great resource for anybody that's looking into applying to be a flight attendant. My biggest tip for it is just to stick it out. Stick out. Don't give up. Do not give up. If this is something that you want to do, it took me 8 months to get into the classroom. It took me 8 months to get into the classroom. And I know some people that were even in my class that it only took, 2 months or 3 months. Everybody is just different. And their airline has their operational need, and they hire you when they feel it's appropriate. I got invited to 3 different airlines interviews, and I started looking at where they were based and, what support system I had in those bases. And I ended up moving to Colorado, and I sat there and I waited. And I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited. And so in Colorado, my sister was actually working for a company that provides services to adults with disabilities. And so I was like, hey, I worked in the hospital. I'm used to taking care of people. And so I started that journey. And it was very difficult. I enjoyed the individuals that we provided services to, but I did not like the people that I was working for. You know, it had been 7 months or 8 months since I had heard from the airline that, you know, gave me my CJO, my contingent job offer. And so I emailed them and I was like, hey, you know, am I still in the hiring pool? Did something happen with my application? Did something come back on my background check? Not that I was super worried about that, but I just had no idea. And finally, they emailed me and told me that I was going to go to class. And so my suggestion for people is just to be patient, and be appropriately inquisitive. Appropriately inquisitive. You know, if you don't hear from them for 2 months, you know, I would probably wait a little longer. But if you hadn't heard from them in 6 months, that's when I would probably start to reach out and see what's going on. And, you know, airlines do hire and they put people in classes for their operational need. So if they don't need you right then, they're not going to put you in class. So my tip is being appropriately inquisitive. So then I get invited to the class. And I go to the class, and it is hard. It is not easy. I got a packet about this thick of information of, you know, what we need to wear when we go to training, what we need to look like when we go to training, things that we need to study before we go to training. It was intimidating. It was intimidating. I'm going to do a video later on my experience of going through training and my tips for surviving training. Just remember, you know, there is, you know, for my particular airline, there was 400,000 applicants, and out of those, you know, only a select few actually get to go to class, and even smaller than that actually graduate. When you're thinking about becoming a flight attendant, you need to make sure that you have a good support system. Fortunately for me, I have my sister, my uncle, and my aunt, and of course my wonderful partner that live here in Colorado that were my support system. They made sure that everything here at home was taken care of while I was in training, and they supported me through the process. I probably called them every other day or every day in the middle of a breakdown, trying, you know, to figure out like if this is what I wanted to do, if this was worth it, and all of that. So you have to be patient and you have to be vigilant. So you guys, that's going to wrap up my video today. Make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button down below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next videos. Thank you.